Okay, guys, is that better? It seems like we have got the sound figured out now. I'm terribly sorry. I did not realize that Streamlabs OBS actually threw away some of our audio device settings there, and it didn't have a single one listed, so I had to re-enlist them. Are you guys okay? Can you hear me now? Good stuff. Alright, I just want to see why the Discord is not showing that we are talking. Let's see if we refresh that. Okay, well, there we go. So I had to get rid of all the cache. Man, you guys, I'm so sorry about that, but I'm glad that I figured that one out soon enough. Thank you so much for telling me, Ryan, and for the rest of you guys. So, okay, right, so let's start from the beginning. We are going to fly from Gatwick to Edinburgh. I showed you the weather map there briefly, and I was talking a whole lot of stuff which you'd never heard, so let's quickly recap that. We're going to take off runway 08 right in Gatwick, and then we're going to fly all the way up to Edinburgh, landing 06. We're going to do a flyby on the right hand side and then literally turn around and come back. I don't want the same old boring short in and out story, so I'm just going to do a bit of a flyby, turn around, come back. We are expecting rain. There is currently rain there. We're going to do an ILS approach and landing. I will do a manual landing. I can do, well, try at least to do an auto land, but we'll do a manual landing unless we really can't. And that's about the plan. That is the plan for this flight. And as usual, then I ended up by saying, if you guys want to chat with me, please feel free, and then obviously leave your comments and suggestions and questions, and we will attend to them as we get time. And Discord guys, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, George. I just need to see that you also display and that there's some audio. John, are you there?
I'm indeed.
Alright, cool. Just say something again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Alright, yeah. Okay. Hooray! Good. Let's get going. I got into the whole Navigraph beta thing 2 days ago, and I've been toying with that. So while we're sitting here, let's quickly look at that. I'm not going to do a whole tutorial on it. I just want to quickly show you guys. Looks kind of different, and we've got a couple of new ways of doing things. I really need to get familiar with it. I watched the Q8 pilot video this morning, so it gave me a brief overview of what to look out for. What is nice is obviously now you can see your actual SID, and you can also see your star at the other side, and you can actually visually see where you're going to and coming from, which is one of the reasons that I like PFPX so much, because I can physically see the SIDs and stars displayed, so it just makes flight planning so much easier. The new version of this program also comes with a flight planner, and strangely enough, this morning PFPX gave me the weirdest flight plan. It just looked horrible, and I used the flight planner in the new Navigraph to actually create this flight plan for us, and it was a breeze. It was really nice. So in time, and when they release it, I'll do a tutorial video on this one, and then you guys can see the joys of that as well. But so far so good.
Clearly it's doing a catch-up.
Yeah, it's doing a catch-up, but it's doing a very good job of it, John. It seems it's really
I'm loving
doing
it.
Yeah.
Loving what I've already seen.
Pole Hill. I have no idea. Where is Pole Hill? Paul, where would we look for that? Is that somewhere south, east, middle, west? Where are we looking at? I don't see Pole Hill as jumping out at me right now. Let's quickly get that back on the screen there. We can look together. Let's start from the beginning. Where's Pole Hill, guys?
exactly where, I don't know, but
Mm,
it's a VOR. No, it's further up north.
I suppose. There's Pole. There you go. Yeah, we're going right over that one. So if you're living close by there and you check us go over it, please wave at us. We'll try and wave
Oh,
back.
always do.
Yeah. All right. I heard somewhere that this is now available for Android as well, this beta. I'm not sure. I'll check it out when I've got time, but for now, let's get going. Let's go do this flight.
Paul, I hope the wave is family appropriate, though.
I beg your pardon, George?
I was telling Paul I hope that the wave he gives us is family appropriate.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Otherwise, we'll, we'll have to censor it. Family appropriate, yeah. What a way to describe it. Right, I'm looking for my flight plan quickly. My OFP, actually. Oh yes, for sure. Escobar needs his limo. You can't travel without that limo. Right, so let's get rid of our Adobe on the screen there. I see we are in agreement. We're going to get the correct information. So our trim wheel wants to come and play. There we go. Right, let's get our information back on screen then, so you guys can follow. Right, so we are going to use that as our star off runway 8. Sorry for the noise, I'm just going to mute my mic quickly. Right, I'm back. I hope the noise is gone for now from the background. Right, so that looks familiar. Let's step through. Right, so we're going to go past the airport on the right hand side and turn back, then turn finals. And that seems to be perfect. And got our go around there. Wow, that is a bit of a steep turn. Let's see what happens when we get there. Right, that takes care of our flight plan and sets and stars.
I think we're going to be in cloud pretty quickly once we're able.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we're going to take flight level 320 as per our plan. Yeah, that's true. 116 at 6 knots. -2 on the ISA. Execute. Take off 2. We can do a climb 2 as well. We'll take it lazy. Today we're not in a big hurry. 38, that's perfect. Ryan, I have no idea. You'll have to do a flight plan for yourself, my friend. Find out. I've never flown that route ever, so wouldn't know. I'm not going to bother about all the advanced stuff. I'm just going to stick to the basics today. And what is this runway direction? Let's quickly get rid of this thing off the screen here. Okay, so where do we find the charts and how do we save these charts now? Let's quickly have a look. See. Maybe if we click on the unit there, let's see. Open chart list. There we go. Okay, so it just looks a little bit different. Right, so we want that one. We want to pin it. We want to obviously track ourselves. We're going to do this SID. That one, and we're going to pin it as well. Okay, now I want to see where do we pick up on the pins. Okay, at the bottom. We pick up on the pins at the bottom. Right. How do we... Okay, so now I need to figure out how to go back to the previous page, because if I cancel that, it just minimizes it. Well, I suppose we then go here for the next one. In the chart list. This is going to take some time to get used to, so we're going to take that one and pin that one. Morning, George. Alright, so we've got that one, then we've got the approach, which is going to be that one. We're going to pin the ILS there as well. I'm going to grab this one. And pin it. Right, so that's interesting. Right, and then we can grab the stuff from the bottom here. Okay, so we want our runway heading, we said 078, so let's go put that one in there. .078, and we're going to climb to 320. Bearing in mind we've got some actual climb restrictions, so we'll just let the aircraft handle that for us. LNAV, VNAV is on. Right, basic configuration is done. That sounds like an unfamiliar sound set to me. Definitely.
Delta 1, right, 2 German. 3, 1.
That's what it should be. Let's save it. Phil, you're welcome. Thanks for the effort, man. Enjoy whatever it is that you're doing. I hope it is something that you can enjoy. Awesome, Phil. Awesome.
Keep off the pop before you go.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so there we go. Everything is configured.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, welcome aboard our flight today. We're wrapping up the final paperwork here to get you on your way.
Oh, not what I wanted. Right. So that's done. Let's quickly get our ground services story done with better pushback. In actual fact, economic
Ground to
pushback.
cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
That's a very good question. Let's cancel. Hold on.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go. Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Right, so we can actually then tell these guys to drive away and we can start closing our doors. John, did you see this? Do you know what's happening here?
No, point it out.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
This is your livery, it seems like, that I'm using here. Captain J.
I
Reynolds.
love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
Captain J.
Morning,
Reynolds.
guys. You got a different captain up front this morning.
Absolutely.
I have to make sure I don't make a mess of it then.
Yeah, you see there, it's your livery.
Love it.
Martin, it should have some of it because it was actually released at the time after Zibo started implementing it. It's not obviously on the same level as the default 800, but it definitely does have some of it. Right, so before we do that, let's get the rest of our stuff in place here.
Flight attendants,
I'm
prepare for
feeling
departure from
privileged
check-in all
this
call, thank
morning.
you.
Cool. Man, there was something else I wanted to do. So we got. Oh, QNH. I never got the QNH. Let's just quickly hit the altimeter. Alright, and then we can push.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
So, using the actual Boeing start method that we were taught last night, it does not matter which side we start as long as it's the one furthest away from people and anything else, you know, and any danger. So it's much of a muchness today. So let us start number one then first. Why not? Just because we can.
No, surely it's going to be number 2.
You know what? Who cares? It doesn't matter because there's nothing and nobody around us. It's of no danger and no consequence to anybody. And it has to be number 2, you're right, because it's the first flight of the day.
Well, that, and because the tail end's going to swing round to the left, which means number 2's furthest away from anybody.
Anti-terminal. Correct. Okay. So we'll split hairs again with the next flight.
Oh, okay. But you're right, it's the first flight of the day, so it has to be number 2.
It's supposed to be. But not in Nico's world.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. We'll fix it next time. We'll try and disregard. Oh, Cloudy. Yeah. We'll try and disregard all the indoctrination of so many years in 1 or 2 flights. Did you see you get a good job?
I know. What? Trust Cloudy to be there, and then there's me. I put him right, Cloudy.
Yeah.
As I said to you last night, I only need telling once. I don't make the same mistake twice.
Fullwood, no, it was me and Claudia and John just having a private chat, and he was talking to us about the whole start procedure and us doing it wrong as flight simmers and why and when and where and all these things.
To summarise, first flight of the day, always engine number 2, unless it's impractical.
Yeah, dangerous.
Thereafter, you can start your engine which is furthest away from any personnel.
And from the terminal, which in this case, if you look at the theory, the terminal is on our left, meaning that number 2 is the furthest away from the terminal, which also points to number 2 having to start first.
Excellent. At least we've got that resolved.
Okay,
Looks
all
like
right.
You're in equal distance to the hangars on the right.
Well, let's have a look, see how far they are. No, well, there's nothing there. So in our world, in Nico's world right now that we're looking at, there's nothing there. So we're going to use that one as our point of reference. So, to recap what I said, and why my checklist and everything is set up that way is, ever since I can remember, everybody has told me start engine number 2. And then you look at the SOPs of, let's say, Ryanair, for instance, which was my example last night as well. They say start engine 2 first. They don't specify first flight or what flight. You know, they give you extra marks when you fly for the VA if you start engine 2 first. Delta, on the other hand, wants you to start engine 1 first. So now I'm sitting with many years. We're talking 13 years of flying experience that needs to all of a sudden change because it wasn't taught by the book. It wasn't taught according to the real world rules. It was enforced by hearsay, basically. It was just hearsay, you know. And funny enough, I told somebody on the Facebook group yesterday not to listen to hearsay, and there I get caught myself for hearsay. But how do you know unless somebody helps you, right? You know, so it happened, and now we can.
Correct. We all have to learn.
Yeah, now we learn something, and on my first flight I go and do it wrong. But it will not happen again, that I can assure you.
Sadly, I can't remember what Claudia told me. There was a reason. There is an actual reason as to why you actually do start engine
He
number
did
2.
on the stream, in the chat.
Practical.
Yeah, in the chat, he just said there.
As the first flight.
Yeah.
But there is a reason for it. For
John.
a mechanical
John.
reason.
John,
Yes,
John,
sir.
it's in the chat. Just go read the chat. He did put it there.
Oh, I do apologise. Sorry about that, Claudia.
It does test on AC standby system. If you can, start engine 2 first. That's your answer. Right, now I need to look at these charts to see where the hell I'm going. I'm not familiar with this airport. Alright, so somewhere there in the front, we need to turn right. Okay. Yes, Ryan, good morning. Yes, I'm all good. How are you doing? Alright, 4 knots. We've got winds calm here, and everything else seems perfect. Spot on. Let's get going. And I see somebody's playing on this airport. Somebody's having a blast. I'll show you guys now. Check these de-icing trucks. Why on earth would they be toying like this? They're enjoying themselves, it seems. Thank you. I would have picked that up a little later.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
George, this is version 2.15 on the RC track. I am doing my first flight with this particular version and I have no issues thus far, but I've not done a complete flight in this version, so we'll see when we complete this flight if there was any.
I flew into Geneva yesterday, no issues, none
No
whatsoever.
issues. Okay. just run through your settings and everything according to my guide. You should pick up if there's noise. You must just set the tablet in the Zibo to disregard the noise, because that's more than likely your problem then.
Basically, it's the same answer throughout. You've got to follow the procedure. If you don't follow the procedure, you're going to get problems.
Yeah, somewhere along the line something seems to be creating,
On the setup,
yeah, an influence there on your throttle or whatever, your controller. So just run through the setup on the Zibo tablet.
the only other thing I would say, and I'm not sure whether you'd agree, Nico, is if you're using the toga, be sure to push your throttle forward.
Yeah, you can either push it full forward or you can pull it full back once you are in the air, because well, that's not got anything to do with the autopilot disconnecting, but that's got to do with the engine management. So it's two separate things, but yeah, that is a good tip in general. In the 14A, I saw that my one was not giving the same disconnect, or the same disconnect issue on the engines. Again, it's not the autopilot, but the engines problem went away. So let's see if this one does it, because I'm going to leave my throttles, my hardware throttles, as is now. Let's see if it picks up that there is a hardware issue later on.
Or just, as I say, I'm not sure whether it makes any impact, but as a matter of practice, once I've hit the toga, I also push through the throttle forward.
Yeah, good
Physically.
practice. I don't mind that. Like I said, I'd pull mine back at some point in time, because in a whole bunch of these updates, it actually picked up that there's a discrepancy between my left and right throttle, and then all hell broke loose. So instead of having that, I just pull it back. Not the tutorial, the guide. We've got an installation guide that talks about this. Let me show you. George, once we are beyond the flaps and everything, and this aircraft can fly on its own, I'll quickly show you. Right, so if you go to configure and you go to your calibration, okay, if your pitch and roll and any of these axes has got an issue with noise, you're going to see, you see the little numbers move now, because I'm fiddling with my yoke. So what you need to do is you need to lift the number at the end until there is no more movement, until everything remains steady at 0. And so on my pedals you can see I'm using a number 4, because that is what then gives me a stable 0. So if you have a pitch and roll situation, the autopilot could disconnect. And then there were other places as well. Let's just quickly run through this. Come on, click the wrong button. I hate when it happens. Alright, if you run through your settings, you'll get to your auto throttle locks and your yoke auto center and things like this. There's a throttle noise lock as well that you can set. So what you need to do is literally just run through all of these settings. Make sure that if you have yoke movement, that it doesn't disconnect the AP. I think in your instance this is probably the most important one. So any yoke movement does nothing when it's on off. But if you move your yoke, it's disconnect the autopilot, or it's going to go to CWS. So in my instance, I've got it set to off, which is, I think, the most logical place for me. So it's all these things that you need to look out for. Well, your auto throttle engage lock throttle is one of them, and throttle noise lock. Those two pertain specifically to the throttle, George. Hey Janix, thank you, same to you. Alright, yeah. This is one of the things I do. This is who I am. I love teaching people, helping people, in turn getting taught myself. Like we discussed with the engine starting thing. That's gonna be a ghost in my mind for quite some time to come. I think I need to change my checklist for a couple of reasons now. That's just one of them. Right, so according to the chart, that is what we are expecting. Let's see how close we get. Philip, the rest of the stuff that you need to know is in my private hangar. So if you look in the description below the video, you'll find a hyperlink there, and there's a whole bunch of information that you can get from my OneDrive that can tell you all the rest of the answers. Okay, this is interesting. She did not follow
altimeter
the
setting
route at all. Claudia, I don't know if you're still watching, but there's a bit of an issue there. You too far away, I can't hear a word you're saying.
I said, yes, I am watching. What happened there?
No, I don't know, it just didn't follow the route. It just went past, it started a turn and never completed the turn. Claudia's saying delete alt on the right side of the leg. What do you mean the 6000 there? That's the restriction. I'm not worried about the VNAV, I'm worried about the LNAV not working, sir. Because according to our chart, we need to be at 6000 at the next waypoint, so that is still perfectly correct. The fact is it didn't follow the LNAV. So what I did was I just clicked on the bigger needle again, and then just obviously the aircraft turned and it's following LNAV again, which is fine. Perfect.
altimeter setting.
So what's your bank limit set to? Is it maybe too low that it couldn't follow the turn?
No, I don't know. Well, what's that? It's 20 degrees. I don't know. Let's change
I
it.
mean, that should be one.
That's perfect, Claudia. Don't worry. Don't worry. I don't think it's got anything to do with the bank angle, to be quite honest. My understanding is that the bank limiter only works when you're on heading select. It doesn't influence LNAV.
Only reason I say that is I did an RNAV approach one time and I had it set too low and it wasn't reacting to it.
It's possible. It's very possible. That's why I've given it the benefit of the doubt. I've changed it to 30 degrees. We are okay. If his passengers running in the background, it would have given you the report at the end that said something went horribly wrong, but you had an exceptional pilot on board that saved the day. How many of you guys saw that message? I saw it a couple of times. Yeah, George C. I'm right. Claudia says the bank limit is for heading select only, not for LNAV.
Yeah, I understand that, but when it was on RNAV approach, it was obeying the bank limit. This has been a while ago.
Yeah, that could have been fixed. That's one thing we love about the Zibo. It gets tweaked every day almost, you know. So Zibo works hard on it, on all the code stuff. Right, and once we hit Beacon Hill, we should then find that this aircraft is then climbing, because that's the end of the restrictions. Hey Liam, good morning. All good, thank you. How are you? Here we go. The climb starts. Okay, Claudia, have a good rest, good night, sleep well. We'll talk later. Let me know when you're up, then we can chat again.
Have a good one, Cloudy.
Yeah,
Take it together.
I am trying. Paul, I was expecting the aircraft to follow the chart path, because even though the curve is not drawn on the ND, it usually follows the path. Okay, so if I look at my right hand screen and I look at the actual Navigraph chart, what happens is the Zibo usually follows the path, so it disregards the sharp turn. It actually knows it needs to turn properly. So it wasn't a test as such. It just happens that Cloudy was online and he see it, so he saw it, so he can now explain to Zibo what happened, and then they can just fix it. Because in my mind, what basically happened is the aircraft lost the track. It just went on its own. It started the turn, went halfway, and then stopped. It's like the code is too restrictive. The channel in which it flows is too narrow. So as it went out of the curve there, it just wasn't able to return automatically, which obviously is not right. So it doesn't matter how you look at it. With one of the developers on stream, they can go back and fix it.
That makes perfect sense. So,
Yeah. Paul B, the chance of it flying the Dublin departure is 0. You still have to add a waypoint yourself or do a vector departure to vector yourself. That is one hell of a steep turn. And the only way that I think this aircraft, or any aircraft for that matter, will fly that is if you go very, very slow. But at normal takeoff speeds, it's going to overshoot it. So the easiest way to fix it is just to add the little waypoint there on the 4 miles 276 radial, so that's how I do it.
or vector.
Yeah, I'll vector yourself very easily until you're back on track. I personally like the idea of adding a little waypoint in there, and then just using LNAV.
Quite there.
Well, first of all, Liam, it's two different aircraft. You can't really compare them. One is 319, the other one is 320. Tolles is very good. Jar design is very good. The only difference is Tolles is more in line with ordinary flight simming mentality and opinion and everything else, whereas Jar is really made for the connoisseur. It's made for the serious simmer. So if you want to just buy an aircraft, load it up and go fly, get the Tolles. It's a no frills, there you go, little aircraft. It doesn't have half or 3/4 of the stuff that Jar has got in it. The Jar immersion is much better, but the Jar is a bastard to get going if you do not have the mentality or the inclination in your own person to want to make it work, because Jar does not work like an ordinary flight sim aircraft. If you're just a flight simmer and you want to have fun, buy the 319. If you're very serious about setting it up properly, spending time with the aircraft, getting it to know it properly, and then flying it properly and setting your controllers, if you've got the time and that's part of your personality, then I would buy the Jar design. But people hate the Jar design because they're lazy, they don't read the manual, they don't want to spend time on setting it up, they don't want to care for it. They just want to pop it in and go, and that's not what the jar is, unfortunately. If you look on my YouTube channel, you will actually see I did comparison flights with the flight factor, the jar design, and the dollars. I think that should answer quite a bit of your information if you go and watch those two videos. One thing I do like about both of them is I have personal access to both of the developers. I can speak with them directly. I don't have to go through any forums or anything, and they are both the developers are active in upgrading and continuously improving the aircraft. So in terms of that, it's much of a muchness. Yeah, she might have a point there. At some point in time, one has to decide how serious you are, you know, and your level of commitment is going to also then determine your level of enjoyment. If you don't read a manual at some point in time, look, you don't have to, but if you get stuck and you don't read it, it's your own fault.
Sorry to be blunt, I just find downright lazy.
Yeah. Liam, first of all, you need to get into the habit of creating controller profiles for your aircraft in X-Plane. If you are still flying on a single profile for all your aircraft, it's no wonder you're going to suffer. You need to learn how to create profiles. So you need a controller profile for Zibo, that's just Zibo, and you need a controller profile for your Tollers, and then one for your jar, and etc, etc. If you don't do that, then you're just going to, you know, create extra work for yourself and you know, annoy yourself. So that's the first thing. So to answer the question, no, it shouldn't have any influence on them because it's two separate aircraft, two separate controller profiles. If you look at your controller curves and things, what you need to do is be as linear as possible. In other words, 45 degrees angle to 50 degree angle on your what do you call those curves, should give you a proper handling of the jar design. You know, and then the other thing that you need to do with the jar design is you need to keep it updated. There is nothing that's going to tell you there's a new update. You've got to continuously read the messages that comes through on the jar design Facebook page or continuously visit the forum, because that's the only place where you will get the download anyway. So you have to keep it updated because they keep on improving it the whole time. I hope that answers your question. George, I don't think any one of us here are not lazy at some point in time in our lives, but when it's necessary, one has to be adult enough to grab a manual and go read. George, it shouldn't. Like I said, you should create a controller profile for each aircraft. If you have, let me show you guys. If you go to your settings, you go to your joystick, look at the bottom there, active profile, it says Zibo. And now, hold on, let me get rid of this display for you. Hold on. Okay, so there you go. It says Zibo. If I look at my list, look there. It's got my helicopter. It's got the 700 of Zibo. It's got the flight factor. It's got jar design, single engine. It's got dollars. So depending on the aircraft that I fly, I set up a controller profile for the very specific reason so that they do not interfere with each other. You can do in this profile with your controllers anything you want. It's not going to change a single spec of any of the other profiles. And this is why it's important to start like this. Johan, you're right. There's a bad stigma and a bad vibe about jar design, and it comes back to the word laziness. People lend their ears out, people are lazy, they just don't care, and then it's easier to just badmouth something they have no clue about. George, you need to read my install guide and set it up accordingly. If you read the guide, you'll understand how the 737 works, and most of the other aircraft for that matter, because it teaches you what is controller and what is not. Liam, it will remember the profile, so if you change between aircraft, it will switch the profile automatically. If it does not, yes, you can, obviously, as I've just shown you can just pick a profile. Okay, but there are two versions, remember. You need to seriously go to the forum and make sure you are on the latest beta. I think it's already at 3.4 or something already. I'm speaking under correction, so please make sure. Full. Yeah, that's cute. Yeah, you guys.
The good thing is the questions are coming through thick and fast.
Yeah, I love it.
Keeping Nico awake. Keep it going.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Top of descent 184.
What you like? George.
Yeah.
Back in 5.
Okay. Liam, I have it on good authority from Andrei Belov himself that they are continuously upgrading that aircraft. If they can sort out the landings, because that really is the only thing, and my best tip I can give you is do not go below 140 knots on the landing. Stay above 140 knots, because the moment you go below 140 knots and you get into ground effect, that thing falls like a brick. So just keep your speed up. Even if you land deep, so what? It's not a problem. Those are the best tips I can give you. And then hang tight, they're working on it. They updated the fly-by-wire the other day, and we're waiting for a release. So full width, no, I've never paid attention to the wingtips and stuff like that in the simulator, to be honest. Well, George Camp, I'm glad you joined the VAMS's Rhine Air One, and I hope you're enjoying all the flights there. Phil Wood, you are correct, but it seems like the moment you go below 140 knots, the aerodynamicness of the Airbus goes for a ball. And that is one of the small little things that you need to compensate with your curves, first of all, and then secondly with speed. And that's something that your design still needs to fix. There are two gripes I have with your design. It's that thing we are talking about now, and then they just need to fix up the FMC a little bit more. Those are the only two things that are still wrong with the jar design. And like I said to Andre, the moment they get that right, they're going to be the market leaders, and this is also why they are working on it, and we just have to be patient for the update to come through.
So they actually simulated a real Airbus then, right?
Yes, yeah, of course. Now, these guys are very spot on. You see, one of the problems we have in the flight simulator community is not many of us have actually flown the real aircraft. But we are used to, because we grew up with flight simulator models. So we are, in certain instances, expecting an aircraft to fly on rails, and an aircraft does not fly on rails. You are a real world pilot here with me, George. You know that. You can testify to the fact. An aircraft does not fly on rails. If you lose control, you're dead. Okay, and if you don't fly within the envelope that it's designed to fly, you're dead. And one of the things that X-Plane does is it creates a more real environment than some of the other flight simulators, much more real environment. And now what happens is, when the developers like Jar Design start to make the aircraft too realistic, the flight simmers and flight simmer community turn around and say, oh no, it's broken or it's rubbish, because they're not used to it. They don't understand the real thing, because for 10 years they've been flying aircraft on rails and they think this is how it's supposed to be, whereas in reality it's different to what we are taught in the flight sim world.
Yeah, it's just like all these guys that fly flight simulator helicopters, they think they can jump into a real one.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Speed Check, thank you for visiting the stream. Well, George, I fly most of my flights offline as well for the VAs. I don't fly much online anymore because I hate the interference from the ATC when I've got a one plan going one way and then I need to change for them going another way and all these things. So I prefer to fly all my flights offline anyway. What do you mean Jar Sun Airbus? Not with you. No, not understanding that one. Full, it's both. The question that you asked there is it a jar or sim problem? It is a sim problem and it is a jar problem. The Airbus model in X-Plane is not where the Boeing model is. Okay, so unless the Airbus designers do what Zibo did and at some point in time start creating their own flight models and stuff, they've got to work really hard to get the X-Plane to understand what an Airbus is and how an Airbus operates. So that is one of the reasons why flight factor, that Airbus does not even operate inside of X-Plane. That Airbus is an FSX Airbus, the flight factor one. It runs on flight tables outside of X-Plane and it simply projects the picture into X-Plane. All right. So they had a choice of what to do, and that's what they went for. When you are in the X-Plane world, there are certain limitations apparently. This is now hearsay, let me just say that as well. There are certain limitations to an Airbus in X-Plane, and the guys haven't really solved the problem, because I think partly everybody is waiting on Laminar to fix it, and then the other side of the coin is if Laminar doesn't fix it, the jar or the tallest guys are going to have to compensate for that. And we'll have to see who wins at the end of the day, because I think Tolles does a very good job at their flight model, and I mean they are also operating inside of X-Plane as far as I know, unlike the flight factor that sits outside. So we'll have to see. Whatever they do, they're going to have to fix it, because that is the single one thing that really still bugs me. The FMC is the second one, but it's not that bad. I can live with the FMC. That MCDU, it's fine. It's okay. It's usable. But I hate flying for 2-3 hours and then struggle to land and have to do a go around because I unfortunately went to 138 knots instead of sticking above 140 knots, kind of a thing. But it's doable. It's flyable and enjoyable. You must just know how to handle it. Oh yes, yeah, Georgia, it's an Airbus. Liam, when I land, we can look at my controller setup. I cannot show you right now. Or can I? I can actually do that. Let's do that. I forgot. I'm just not gonna obviously enable it. So, jar A320. So under my jar A320. That is the control curve for the roll. And this one is for, hang on a second, I'm talking nonsense. This is the toe brake. So what am I talking about? Sorry guys. Not the trim wheel. The yoke, we want the yoke. Sorry, there we go. That's for the roll axis. I know it's always the top one, so that's why I said roll previously. So this is just bicubic standard. And this is the one that I tweaked. So I've got this now on 50% basically. So it's almost a diagonal line, just over a diagonal line. And this seems to really work very well on the one side. And then in terms of controller sensitivities, this is what I've got. This is for the jar. Hope that helps. Liam, okay, what do I mean? It operates outside of X-Plane. It means this. The Flight Factor A320 is a standalone systems simulator. It has nothing to do with X-Plane. It was and is a simulation that runs completely standalone. Somebody somewhere one day saw it and said, oh, we can take this and we can then sell it to the X-Plane community, but now we need to make it that it actually projects into X-Plane. So what happens is it literally runs off its own flight model, and in FSX days we called it flight tables. So if you do this, then that happens. If this, then that. It doesn't take the whole blade theory. It doesn't take the atmosphere within X-Plane or any of the winds or anything into account. It literally runs on the outside and it projects itself into X-Plane. That's what the Flight Factor A330 does, and why it doesn't, operate the same way as the other ones. I hope that helps you. Yeah, Phil Wood, I'm not sure exactly how to explain it to you, but I think you're on the right track there. There is limits to the X-Plane model, especially on the Boeing. That is why 2 or 3 models back, Twixter actually had to create his own model for the Zibo, because the Zibo went above and beyond what X-Plane was capable of handling. So we're fighting against what X-Plane can do and what the developers want it to do, the third-party developers, and the guys must just sort it out somewhere along the line. Oh, let's quickly have a look. Yes, yeah, I think we should be close to you now, eh? Yeah, get the eggs ready. We're gonna drop some eggs here on this pole hill. Where's this aircraft now? Wait, did we pass it already? Damn, I think we passed it. Yeah, we've passed it. Sorry, Paul, we missed you. At least you're not getting eggs raining on you now.
It's good because I already ate the eggs. Sorry.
So we're all talking nonsense here. Running for cover. Yeah, we way past now. Well guys, at least we are here and we are having fun this morning. Thank you so much for joining me and having a nice chat with me. It always makes the flight more interesting and much more enjoyable. Alright, so we're 87 nautical miles. Let's start looking at setting up.
Echo, Golf, Papa, Hotel, Airport Information, Mike 0920, Zulu, Weather, Wind 052, at 10, Visibility 3,200, Sky Condition, Ceiling 300, Broken, Light Rain, Temperature 10, 2.10, QNH 1008, Advise on initial contact, you have information, Mike. Echo, Golf.
George Camp, no, you don't get penalized. No, you can make and cancel as many of them as you want. That's one of the reasons I like flying for VAMSIS Airlines, because apart from Cargo Lux, there isn't one that I am aware of that have got silly rules. But Cargo Lux, I don't even want to talk about them. They've just got silly rules. For the rest, it's awesome. You can literally just enjoy yourself with it. Damn it, this thing is fast. Wow. Alright, then we better just not press an alt button. George, but that's how everybody learns, my friend. We all go through that. We all make mistakes, and then we just learn from that. As long as you don't give up, my friend. Never give up. Do your thing. Right, so we've got our VREVs, we've got the minimums, we've got the altimeter, we've got the ILS and the course values. Now we need to come down, let's see, 4,000 feet. Right, so we are ready for our descent here.
I've tried 3 times to register with Ryanair Virtual.
Okay.
Won't accept it. Oh, now I'm filling everything out correct. It says it's looking for the data and it just continues and continues and continues. I've set the private email No response.
I've never heard of issues like that.
Well, I've tried 3 times. 3 times, I'll keep going back.
Okay, but if you can't get it right, just tell me. I'll ask the guys to sort you out because I've got them on Discord here, so it's easy enough to
Would you?
fix them.
I would appreciate if you did, because it's frustrating.
I
Okay.
saw that last week too when I was messing around with it. There was some weird stuff going on, but I was able to get the Delta.
I know they were working on the servers a while ago. Whether it's the same issue, I'm just not sure, or whether the issue would be fixed. When was the last time you tried to register, John?
2 days ago.
Okay, I'll see if I can drop one of the guys a note here. But
Appreciate it.
on their Discord, they've changed the permissions and stuff a little bit. It looks like I'm back into it. Let's just have a look, see. Because I was unable to actually even talk to the guys. It looks like it's working. Gary Thomas, who are you, sir? He's the operations director.
Yeah, that's the guy I sent a private message to, and he hasn't replied.
That's strange. Let's see if I can reach him quickly.
Okay, thank you. In fact, I've only just a second looked at my mail again and had a look in the spam box in case anything had come into there.
Okay, just send him a private message. Let's see.
Appreciate that, thank you.
He is online, so if he gets it now, he'll talk back.
Take care, George.
Bye-bye, George. Thanks for dropping by. We'll talk later. What the hell? Oh yes, we must look at the throttles. Paul, thanks for reminding me. Okay, my throttles is still exactly at 70% where they were earlier. So we'll see when we do the descent if it picks up and it goes number 1 to idle and number 2 to full thrust. Let's see. It's vyr.eu that you're going to, hey John?
Right, repeat that slowly and I'll write it down.
Victor Romeo Yankee Romeo.eu.
To repeat, Victor Romeo, Yankee Romeo, Echo Uniform.
Yeah, .eu.
Dot
EU.
dot EU. Okay, I'll try it again. That's a totally different page. I'm looking for registering and there's no register. There's a guest user or sign in and the guest user does nothing. Sorted, create an account, I've got it.
So you got it. Okay. So you are now registered on the VRYR.eu site. And you selected...
I will be.
Okay.
I will be. I'm just filling in the application.
Alright, so you clicked on I'm a new pilot.
I haven't got there yet.
No, but then you're doing it wrong. No, then you're doing it wrong. Where do you find an application? Because if you go to the very bottom of the page and you click on join the ranks, it takes you to a page where it asks you, do you have a VAMSIS account or are you a new pilot? And then you select a new pilot.
And also, if you do the sign in, it says create an account.
Oh, okay, so you're going the other way around. Gary says they've had 23 guys sign in just today, and there's definitely nothing wrong with the sign-in process.
Yeah, I've just signed in. The problem was, Nico, that when I did a search for Ryanair Virtual, it took me to a different page.
Okay.
And it had a similar setup, but not quite the same as this. So there's an issue there with directing you to the correct place.
Uh-huh. Okay, the throttle does it again, guys. You see there, before I pull it back, so I'm going to pull it back quickly now. And then let the aircraft respond. Okay. So on 14A, it didn't do it. This is 15 and it's back. As a matter of interest, Paul. Liam, the only tip left to give you for the jar design is when you land, do not go below 140 knots ever until touchdown, because depending on where you are at, that thing's gonna drop like a brick because of the way it's programmed. So just, you know, keep your speed up. John, please just tell me when you are in. And your account is active, and also I can just tell Gary.
Yeah, I'm just going to check my emails now and verify my email address.
Okay.
extend my thanks to him. Yes, registered.
Alright, yeah, I've just typed thank you.
Excellent. Yes, everything's A-OK.
You know, you could have just clicked on the link below the video in the description. It would have taken you to the correct place to register. Then you wouldn't have had to search, eh?
Okay.
Your Google
Well,
search.
what I might do, not now. I'm going to find the page that I was directed to, and obviously there's an issue there because I'm sure other people are getting directed there.
Well, the issue is this: you shouldn't go and Google, because remember there are many operators offering a virtual Ryanair. If you want to join the one I'm at, you need to follow the link, because then obviously it's not a virtual Ryanair VAMS's issue you're talking about. You're talking about Peter and Paul running their own show somewhere down the street, and it's their problem that is causing a problem for you. You understand?
I do understand that now, but as a layman or somebody else wouldn't have even thought about that. They would believe that they're the correct site because it says Ryanair Virtual.
Yeah, with you.
Thank you again for your efforts. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Where's George? There you go. George Walker. There you go. You're back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I was just about to say, I've got an early call at the airport here to so I'm head out.
That's fine. Thank you so much for stopping by, joining us on Discord.
Thanks for having me. Alright, another 100 acres of grass to mow and we'll be caught up.
Oh, you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, air-conditioned tractor autopilot, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
And there was me thinking you might do some physical.
I have to climb up into it.
Oh, I do apologise. I forgot about that.
You guys are funny.
And press the start button, of course. I mean, that'll take energy.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long climb. The worst part is you gotta climb up, climb back down to unlock the lower deck. You know, unfold it. That's not the bad part. Unless you get
Stop it, you'll have me crying.
That's alright, I usually get another guy to do it while I'm up there.
Gets worse.
Alright, y'all. You guys have a good rest of your morning and afternoons to everybody else, wherever you're at. Have a good day.
You too,
Enjoy.
sir.
Bye-bye, George.
Bye.
Well, so far so good because that's it at all.
Okay.
Nico, when I fly for Ryanair, do I have to use their livery?
Yes, you have to use the livery, and remember you need to start their smart cars 20 to 30 minutes before push. Alright, because they will give you marks for it. Go on the left hand side. Once you've logged in, at the very bottom it's got all the documentation. just read through it and make sure you understand
Yeah,
the
I'll
rules.
do that first. I'll read through it all.
Yeah, better, because then you'll also see where it tells you to start engine 2 first, and all the things we discussed already.
Okay. I'm going to try and put the lazy bit behind me.
Yes, please. Look at the ortho here. My goodness, this looks so stunning. I wonder if it's still raining. I can't recall from listening to ATIS earlier. You can listen
Well,
again
you did say earlier on it would be raining, but I'm actually quite gobsmacked at the weather, because I wasn't expecting that.
Janix, that's awesome. I've been a member of Virtual Ryanair for a long time. I don't fly it very regularly. I don't fly virtual airline stuff very regularly anyway, period. But Ryanair is one of my favorite ones. And as you heard, I've obviously got contact with the big boys there. So I just talk to the managers and sort stuff out if I have to. It's always nice having contacts like that.
Well, provided I can get through all the paperwork first, initial reader, I might get a flight in later this afternoon.
Yeah, and remember to start it early, and remember, once you are done and you switch your aircraft off, okay, the engine stop running, please remember to file the flight, otherwise you're going to have to refly it to file it.
Yeah, okay, and I'm assuming all that will be in my read-up.
Yes. And I'm telling you all of this because I'm also guilty of it. I've started to fly many times, and then me and Cloudy, we sit and talk so much, then I go, I forgot to log it.
Yep.
That's correct. You get points for starting engine 2 first.
Do you? Oh yes. Okay.
And with Delta, they don't subtract points, but they give you points for starting engine number 1 first. So when you're flying for these VAs, you need to just make sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Liam. Paul, now you ask me things like that. I don't know. I'm talking too much. I didn't even notice the speed. As far as I'm concerned, it's supposed to come down all the time, not go up. Full width, yes, even if the engine is towards. So again, this is what me and Cloudybox and John were talking about earlier. Flight simming is flight simming. It doesn't really always support the real world procedures, unfortunately. And when you have a real world pilot like Cloudy that's type rated and has got thousands of hours on the 737, and he looks at this and he goes, why the hell do you fly for VAs and do these things? Who wrote their SOPs? And he's got all these questions. My easy answer is, I don't know. I'm just following the rules. I just do what I'm told. I don't have real world 737 experience like he does, so I don't know any better until him or one of his colleagues tell me, listen, you're doing it incorrectly. Which was fun, because that's what he did last night.
The other issue is the fact that things are slightly different stateside as they are into Europe.
Of course, that as well. And then you've got different SOPs between the different airlines. And I mean, United, for instance, Delta, they prefer to use single engine taxi in the real world. There are not many guys doing single engine taxi in Europe, for instance. There's a whole lot of differences, eh?
Bottom line, as long as they don't fall out of the sky,
and kill people, yeah, then it's good. We don't want to kill people. Paul, the reason it went to the red line is the altitude that the aircraft was at the one waypoint versus the altitude it needed to be at the next waypoint caused a dive. this thing literally dove just like a bomber, and that's why I used the speed brakes just now. Speaking of which, we can actually stop the speed brake now. We don't need that. Yes, that message always comes up full. The drag required always comes up, but I cancelled it when I saw it, so it's not there anymore. Well, that too, but when I saw it, I actually cancelled it. But you're right, I'm talking way too much. Which isn't bad. I'm enjoying myself, to be quite honest. This is a good flight. So far, so good. Exactly. The general rule is that you don't use your speed brake above 10,000 foot. Okay, so if you are higher than 10,000 feet, you don't use it. That's a general rule of thumb. But in this case, there was an actual nosedive action that took place. The aircraft literally dove down to try and keep up with the VNAV. Alright, and the obvious way of user intervening is just throw the speed brake. I'm glad you like it, Phil. Alright, I better sit up straight, guys. Seats upright, trays stowed, please. We're gonna land soon.
Stop it, Paul. Stop it.
1,000 to go.
Another entertaining go around. We'll do a 360 right there by the threshold again. That was fun. That was really a lot of fun. Alright, so I'm going to actually start pulling some flaps here. So let's go to flaps 5 so we can just slow down a little bit.
You were obviously there for the KONT turning.
Alright, okay, so this is the typical thing that a lot of people complain about. The aircraft turns into the opposite direction. It's not an aircraft problem, it's a user operator problem. Right, the angle at which we came in here was not conducive for either V-lock or the approach to actually work. And this is where common sense through training and experience comes in. So what we need to do is we need to position ourselves to actually intercept the localizer properly. Because at the angle that we came in there is no ways that this aircraft will be able to actually do that turn. So we're going to turn steeply back because we went over the center line there. And then we are going to intercept it properly. So what I'm also going to do, because it's natural, is I'm just going to set the vertical speed up so that we can actually descend a little bit, because our glide slope is right there where we are at now.
1,000 to go.
Phil, it's a question of the pilot in command needs to be on top of his game. You know, the requirements in the flight plan is such that the FMC obviously tried to follow the requirements, but the requirements were a bit excessive, and the captain needs to wake up and do his job. You know, I hope that makes sense. You know, you can't just sit back and rely on the computer to fly the aircraft. You've got responsibilities yourself. So that's why you throw the speed brakes when you have to, or you disconnect your VNAV when you have to. In this case, I just use speed brakes.
The computers are only an aid. You're the
Yeah.
pilot, you fly the aircraft.
Exactly. Alright, so there we're turning on the localizer. The aircraft is taking it. We're all happy. And we can then go over to our approach mode because we have an active glide slope as well. There is our runway ahead of us, so we better start getting ready. In real world, by the way, in real world, this approach, there where the aircraft turned right, because I wasn't prepared to do my bit to go left, in real world, we would have had vectors to go to that point. The aircraft would not fly that sharp a turn anyway. So in real world, we would have received vectors and all would have been okay. Because this is a simulator, it just meant that I had to do more than my bit there. Alright, so let's quickly look at our weather. We are below 10 degrees. We've got moisture, which means that our anti-ice needs to come on. That's standard procedure.
Does that mean we're going to be privileged with vapor trails off the wings?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, we'll see on the rerun. See on the rerun.
Oh, well, we don't see any now anyway, so alright, well, I'm configured for a manual landing. Our go around altitude is 3000, so once we see the white line we can set up. Oh, it is at 3000, we don't even mind that then. Everything looks fine. Looks like the rain stopped. We went through a rainy patch there and we've got water on the screen, but not much rain.
I was hoping it would have clean it down.
Oh, look there. There's your vapor on the wings now. Look at that.
Excellent.
Victor told me it will show when it needs to show. Because I asked him what happened to it. He said, it will show when it needs to show. Wow. And oh yes, thank you. Thanks, Yorkie. We'll do auto brake too today. Man, you guys earn your money today. I tell you what, it's awesome. Alright, and speed brake is on. We've got a minimum of 50 feet, so we've got a ways to go still.
Approaching 06.
Wow, these clouds are so thick you can hardly see anything.
Love it.
Oh, me too.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Check Paul, check his message there. I'm not going to concentrate on any text now. Now I need to land.
Yeah, don't. You do what you've got to do. That's my bird you're flying this morning.
Oh yes, I forgot for a second.
200.
Wow, this looks so cool. Look at that breakout through the clouds. Wow.
Approaching minimums. 100. 50 minimums.
I don't have enough hands to silence that horn. Sorry guys.
10.
5,000 feet remaining. 4,000 remaining. 3,000.
and you've got the rain.
Oh, and look at this. Sorry, guys, go around.
Who said about go round? I'm going to shoot him.
That was Paul.
Paul, you're a jinx.
400. Flight slow. Flight slow.
Let's reduce the profit on this flight.
Flight slow. Flight slow.
Caution, taxiway. Caution, taxiway.
You did.
Okay, very interesting. I pressed the toga button and that was on my joystick. It didn't accept it at all for the go around there. And I physically had to now press the mic button to get the actual go around facility. That's very freaking interesting. Yeah man, I'm trying to get the toga to work first. One thing at a time. I'm one guy alone. Oh.
Too much flaps. Paul, you're an absolute jinx.
Yeah, you guys. I love you. You know that. This is awesome. This is so good.
Not such a long landing this time round.
2,500.
Thousand to go.
Don't ask. If you didn't see it, don't ask.
Paul, what happened was I took the auto throttle off and I pulled my hardware throttle into the reverse function so that the reverses would activate, and it simply did not. It did not activate the reverses. It then accepted my pushing forward of the hardware levers as a full throttle position instead of a full reverse thrust position. It then went to full throttle.
On the side of that, you jinxed it.
You're not going to let him get away with that, eh?
No way, absolutely no way.
And what bothered me is now I'm doing all the procedures here. I'm clicking my toga button on my joystick and the flipping thing doesn't go into toga mode. And that's why I eventually clicked the mic button. So, oh. Like we said earlier in the stream, the report at the end is going to read something like, you were in dire straits, but you had an exceptional pilot on board. You know that story?
I've heard that one.
Yoki, of course. We want to extend the stream a little bit.
Aside of that, you can go off people.
Yeah, let's do out and around. See if it's good enough. Right, so we are currently on the autopilot. Going to try and intercept that localizer again. Well, depends on your definition of bounce. The aircraft did not bounce itself, but I did do a go around, so we're taking take two now. Doing take two now. Okay, V-lock is on again. Let's check everything. Everything is fine. Right. Release the localizer and we'll go to approach mode once our glide slope kicks in. Oh, look at that. Glide slope. So, okay, I've got it by hand now again. Let's forget about autopilot. Let's pull back on our throttles there. Get the flaps set correctly. Gear down. Yeah, and we're in the red. Oops. Oops.
You're not telling me we're going to have to do another go round.
No, look what has just happened. It's broken my flaps now. It's broken the flaps. We've lost our control surfaces. We've just lost our control surfaces. Bloody hell. We've just lost our control surfaces. Sorry, Mrs. De Bruin. Your kid and 189 other people died because he was stupid.
I knew something was going to go wrong. You using my aircraft.
I'm so sorry, John. Sorry, I will repay you when I come back in the next life. Look, we're gonna die. We're gonna die. If not, if something else doesn't go bad now. Let's get rid of our flaps. Let's see if that will give us some control back. Liam, the flaps are dead. Yes, the control surfaces broke. According to the normal explain way of doing things, we broke the flaps. It's not moving up or down or anything. You can see the lever is in the up position. So there's no ways we're going to be able to land this. I think, guys, this is the time to either say your prayers or bring out the drinks and say your farewells. You know, make your calls.
The runway is not long enough to do a no flaps.
Hang on, let me show you what we're fighting. Look at the way that I've got to control the column here. There is no control. You understand? There's no control.
Yeah.
I'm fully right, and this aircraft is literally fully left almost. So that is my biggest problem right now. If we could have lifted the flaps, you know, we could have tried it. So I think let me just quickly consider one or two options here, because I might have to use the rudder a little bit more. The rudder seems to be helping us a little bit. I cannot move these flaps, Liam. They are not going up nor down. Nothing. I went into the red band. I went into the overspeed, and it broke it. As easy as that. It just broke it. I'm going to try my best to land, just to have a bit of fun on the stream here. But I don't have much faith in the aircraft. I mean, you look at the stance of my yoke, and that's just to try and keep it upright. So it's difficult.
400. 300. 200.
Caution, taxiway. Caution, taxiway.
What do you mean taxiway? We're not even close to a taxiway. The highway is not a taxiway. Right, well, I'm kicking this right rudder quite hard, and that seems to give me some control. I'm just going to try and maneuver back around, so we've got some fighting chance of actually landing. Let's see if we can do this.
You're going to have to put it down right on the threshold.
Yeah, I'll do my best. We'll see what we can and cannot do. Phil, there's no warning on the lower DU telling us anything of what's wrong. This is remember, this is an X-plane removing the control surfaces error. Oh, hang on a second, hang on. While we're doing that, why don't we try see if we can't just clear the error? Flight configuration. Customize failures. Fix all systems. I'm not sure if that's going to do us any good. Apply the changes.
1,000 feet, stabilize, Mr. Bird, channel 2.
Yeah. Pull up. Yeah. Oh, it's fixed it. It's fixed it. I'm going to try again. Oh, that was clever of me. Bit of a cheat.
I thought that had been suggested by, I'm looking.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. Well, somebody here mentioned it. Guys, I'm obviously not concentrating that much on who's saying what at this point in time. Yeah. But thank you so much. That was a very excellent. Yeah, if only you could do that in the real world. That was a very excellent suggestion.
If only.
So I'm somewhere outside of bounds here on the charts. Oh, okay. We've had some entertainment today, eh, John? Paul, you like that?
I like it because you haven't wrecked my bloody aeroplane.
Yeah, okay. Right, I need to find out where I'm at, so let me get my view on the charts here. Ooh, we need to go left. Browdy, good day. Oh, Paul likes this stream. Look, fabulous. Fabulous. Alright, so let's go to the auto throttle on. Let's just get a little bit more speed. And then I suppose oh man, something like that. So let's go to heading select.
Flight slow. 1,000 feet, stabilize. Flight slow. 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 Flight slow.
Go off, man.
Flight slow. Flight slow. 500. 400. 300.
I've got to think of too many things at once.
Do me a favour this time round. Forget all the messages.
I'm not even looking at that side. I'm really flying this thing now. Let's see if we can get this right. I would love to land this aircraft after all of this fun that we've had. I mean, seriously, we need to land this thing now. Otherwise, this poor pilot is not as exceptional as he thought he was.
Does it mean anything, the fact I'm praying?
Yeah, thank you so much. That really helps. If there's any messages now, guys, I can't concentrate on that. I need to seriously think of what I'm doing now, so just bear with me. I'll answer you when we get to a point where we can.
Behave, Phil.
500.
Are not even close to where we need to be. Not even close. Okay, I am getting lost here. I need to go to a better plan. Alright, so there I can see myself on the big map now.
And now it's raining.
Oh, that's fine. I couldn't be bothered flying instruments now. Literally. IMC, IFR, the whole story. Paul, edge of the seat, my brother. You have no idea how I'm clutching this controller. I mean, everything here is now done by hand, eh? So,
There's no blood in his knuckles.
Oh, this is white knuckle stuff, eh? Alright, so I'm just going to fly a little bit straight on this heading and then turn back. Yeah, deep breaths, deep breaths. Ah, shush, man.
Flight slow. Flight slow.
The ground is a bit high here. We're at 1,200 foot above sea level and the ground just came up very fast there. Right, so we're almost on base.
Well, you've lost your return flight slot.
Ah, sorry about that. Rather alive than dead, eh? We'll catch a later flight. Right, okay, so now we need to try and intercept this thing a little bit better.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
1,000 feet, stabilized, Mr. Birch, altitude set.
Thank you so much. Going to turn onto that localizer.
Feet stabilized, Mr. Birch, altitude set.
Flight slow.
Whatever, whatever.
Flight slow.
Shush.
Take rate. Take rate. Hold up. Hold 500. Hold up. Hold up. 400.
Yes,
slow.
yes, yes.
Flight slow.
Oh, the poor people in these houses today, they must be going, oh, this guy's nuts. What the hell is he thinking?
There's been a few phone calls from noise abatement.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure the CIA is waiting for me when we land.
Rather you than me.
Oh, it's your aircraft. I'll quickly, no, I'll just quickly go and get out of uniform, you know, and when I get out of the toilet, I'll be in my normal civvies, and then you can explain. John.
Good night, friends.
Oh, that looks semi-correct. If we can just actually see the runway, that will help.
I've changed mine twice.
Okay, there's the glide slope coming now. There's the localizer changing on us again. About going down now, and we need to think about where that runway is.
500.
Yeah, if I can see the ground, I can pull up. There we go. Maybe we've got trees. Oh, there's the runway.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
200.
Sorry, now I don't have hands to cancel that button now. I'm just going to try land. Guys, thank you for flying with me today.
Go round number 3. Sorry, number 4 coming up.
Negative, negative, negative. This time I'm landing.
2.
Gear is down. The brake. Everything is in place.
50.
Right, let's go down.
30 minimums. 10.
Ooh, that was almost a hard landing. Right, reverse is on and there we go. Full reverse thrust, auto brakes running. Now we're slowing down.
You don't need to clap today, lads.
We do. I need it. I seriously need some help here, guys. I need some love. After all of this, wow.
Oh, I could pass the tip box round.
Yeah, that too. Good golly.
That was a bit of an experience.
Guys. Well, thank you guys, thank you, and thank you for being here to share this experience. I'm going to think about this for a long time to come. This was one of those ones that if you didn't see it, you won't believe it kind of a thing. Tooth marks. Oh, brilliant. Wow. And I landed on flaps 20, not even 30. As I came in, I don't know if you guys noticed it, it was like the aircraft was getting unstable again. So I had an option. I could either go for flaps 30 or I could just leave it. And I just left it at flaps 20 because in my mind I was just scared. I didn't want to go put one more notch of flaps and then we get the similar situation and then we have got to cancel the failures and all those things. But I tell you what, I learned a couple of things here, which obviously is theory that I know, but I've never really practically used it. So we've learned a thing or two here about some of the things that people have been complaining on the Facebook page, about the aircraft turning one way instead of the other way. We know that's user error. We now also know that if the aircraft suddenly just banks into a certain direction, it's obviously, well, a very good chance is you've gone into an overspeed mode and some control surfaces got damaged. So we've learned quite a bit, and then we also learned not to give up. I think that's also excellent.
I'm just a very relieved owner.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Phil, I won't edit it, I promise. You are more than welcome to come and watch it as many times as you want. My live streams don't ever get edited, okay? If there is content in them that is not good for the Zibo team or for my own ego, then I sometimes delete the stream. But I assure you this one will stay. I think there's a lot of lessons for a lot of people to learn here. To see what not to do and what to do if something goes wrong. So I'll definitely keep this one. This is a keeper. I loved what happened here today. It also entertained me, obviously, so I'm more than happy with this one.
You weren't the only one that was entertained.
Yeah. Phil, we thank you.
What was the cloud base? About 500?
No, at some point it was about, I would say down to about 300. Between 300 and 800 was the cloud base. Yeah.
Right on the edge of abort.
Yeah. Wow, and wow. That was awesome. Yeah, trusting the instruments, I think that is one of the biggest lessons that any pilot learns when you fly IFR, is to trust those things, because your whole body tells you you're going the wrong way. And if you look at those instruments, your mind needs to override that feeling, and it needs to, know what to do in the situation. So, very important.
Paul, they're all rushing to get outside to get to the toilet.
I'm opening the doors there. We'll call the crew quickly to get these guys off. In actual fact, no. You know what?
Bye, Phil.
Bye, Phil. Just want to actually have a look around quick.
Better try and get another slot booked for the return.
Yeah, and they're not flying Skymatics in Ari. In actual fact, I think they are going to fly Skymatics because of this exceptional pilot. They think I'm a hero, man. They want to fly with me again.
Let them sleep on it first.
And guys, another lesson is, do not put the bare minimum amount of fuel in here. Like, what was this? This was like the 4th go around that we did. I mean, if you don't have enough fuel, if you don't have enough fuel, you're gonna die. So when you do your flight planning, please make sure that you use the appropriate amount of fuel, that you load the appropriate amount of fuel.
I haven't worked out how to put fuel upstairs yet.
You see there, that's what I was talking about. It's like I was going through some wake turbulence. The aircraft became unstable right there. That's why I didn't put another notch of flaps, because I was fighting against the weather right there. There was wind or something. So I probably wake turbulence of sorts, some turbulence. That's why I just kept it. Kept it at 20.
Can we see the flaps fall off?
I don't think it's modeled to show you that it's fallen off, but we can try look for it.
I love it. He's a masochist.
I'm not sure when it was. You see, this is in that state. So basically it is broken. It's not that it's fallen off or something, but it got stuck. So the angle suggests that it simulates that these ones are down and these ones are up on the right hand side, which obviously it isn't. but it then injects the simulation in to suggest that that's up and this is down. Because look, the moment I let go of the control column, it just dipped.
Yes, correct, Paul. Side east.
So
1,000.
1,000 feet, stabilize, Mr. Burchell, to south.
wow.
25, 2,500, 200.
That is a lot of condensation right there. I think this was a bloody entertaining flight, eh?
Understatement, that.
Wow. Oh, that's where I caught it. We were going down a bit fast.
That's a better view from there.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Wow. Phew. Thank you, Paul. Much appreciated.
2,500.
Yes, John. There were at least 2 times that I thought, I'm going to ditch this plane. Just before I reset the failures there, I almost just said, to hell with it. I'm so glad I stuck it out.
And that's not like you, Nico.
Yeah, I don't just quit, you know me. But I thought about it twice.
She's coming in just a tad too fast, isn't she?
Yeah, and the vertical speed was too much. That's why I pulled up there at the last moment and why we did the nose down thing again, just to sort out the vertical speed.
That was very close to a nose first
I know,
touchdown.
I know. I pulled ever so slightly just to keep it up, but that was closer. Wow. I just want to see this one more time, guys. Sorry if I bore you, but I just want to see it once more.
Go for it, go for it. I tell you what, I'm going to check that undercarriage before we go out.
Yeah. Yeah, you might want to check those pinions and connectors.
I'll get the lads to have a look before we go back.
Before we do that, let's just quickly do this. Let's see what vertical speed we had. Well, the vertical speed, the actual landing, not the replay, was 182. That wasn't bad. So you don't need an inspection for that. Even the replay now, I mean, why the replay differs from the original, I don't know. But I mean, the original landing was 182. So you're okay. Your undercarriage is good. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Something about an exceptional pilot. I love the AutoGen. Look at these houses and barns and stuff. Yeah, it looks so cool.
those vapours actually off the wing. I think they need to tidy that up a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit OTT, isn't it?
Yeah, over the top. That main landing gear was on slightly like a split second before the nose. It was very close. Well, gentlemen, I loved it. And thank you for being here and thank you for joining me. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a second stream today, but if I do, it will be around about 1700 Zulu. If you don't see any notice come up regarding that, then please enjoy the rest of your weekend and we'll see each other soon again.
Thanks a million, Nico.
It's a pleasure, John. Bye-bye, guys. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.